So here we have the placement for the clock hands. We're going to put a piece of vinyl over the front and some vinyl over the back. So first of all, I'm going to put the back piece in place. Oops. We're going to make sure this is well covered. Using a piece of tape, we're going to hold this in place. Here. And another piece of tape here. We'll turn it over. Now you can either float this or you can tape it, the choice is yours. So we're going to take this over to the machine now and we will stitch the vinyl in place, and it will stitch the word minutes on this one. So here we have the minute hand has been stitched. We have the hand, we have the little circle here. This is where we'll punch a hole or make a hole for the split pin to go through. So now we unhoop this. Again, take the stabilizer off, trim around the minute hand and get ready for the next section. So there we have it, unhooped. Okay, unhooped. The minute hand unhooped, and as you see we have the little circle here. Here I'm using a crocodile, but you could use a punch, an awl or whatever you like to punch the hole in between the guide. It's just a guideline, just so that it's roughly centered. And there we have it. There we have the little hand. So that's that stage. Next stage, we get ready. Okay, so here we are. We have the placement line for clock face 3. Ignore this piece here. So I had a bobbin issue, tore the stabilizer, so I rehooped the stabilizer and started again. So here we have the lines. Again, we're going to use the drawing pins and place in the end of the place in the end, fingers, right where that knotty bit is. Right there, we're going to place that there. Okay, and again we're going to take our piece of clock fabric, bring that in so that it's on the end. This one, so it's on the end there. I'm going to bring it. Okay, we're going to take this or pin it in place, take it back to the machine and stitch the next section. And again on this section we will be doing the hand for the hours, the small hand here. Well, here we have it. The third quarter has now been stitched with the guideline alignment line in place. We're now going to do the same as we did here. We're going to trim a little way around this edge so that we have room to do the next hand, which will be here. We'll do the placement line, put the vinyl on the top and the bottom, stitch, and then placement line, vinyl in place, front and back. Take it to the machine, stitch the hands and the. So that's the third quarter done and the little hand. So we now have the hours hand and the minutes hand. Those are both done. So we now just have the last quarter to embroider, and we do exactly the same. Hoop up, do the alignment lines, align it with the drawing pins, stitch, and then the front part is finished. Okay, so here we have the fourth and final hooping ready. This is done, like you can see, it's done an angle shape for the alignment. So here we're using 3 safety pins, 1, 2, 3. So here we're going to make sure we get this one on the end there, one in the middle, let's do this one first maybe, this one, and the one here in the middle. So there we have the 3 drawing pins. You'll tape or pin this in place, whichever you're most comfortable with. I shall put a couple of pins in here to hold this, and a pin about here just to hold it all in place. Again, there's going to be some writing across here, so what I suggest is we do as we did for the last one up here, a quarter past, that we unpick a couple of the stitches here to leave a blank so that it's not in underneath. So here it is pinned in place, a gap of stitches made. All we've got to do is to take out these safety pins, or drawing pins, thumbtacks I believe you also can call them, and take these out so we don't hit the machine with them. So there's the last and final section embroidered. So now we're going to unhoop this, just trim around the outside, and we'll have a look at the next step. Okay, so here we have the clock trimmed. Okay, with the PDF you'll find a circle which is the correct size for the clock face. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this circle out and use it as a template to draw on some Heat and Bond Ultra. This is a fusible interfacing that's used in applique. It's fusible on both sides, so what we can use it for is we can iron it onto the back side of the clock face, take the paper off, and then fuse the back onto it. It saves sewing it. Or the other method you can do is simply put your backing down on the back of this and stitch around the edge of the clock, holding it, and then trim it all together. The choice is yours. There are several methods. The other method would be is to leave a bit more of a edging here, place the fabric right side down, stitch, leaving a gap, turn, but I just think as this is done in felt, you've got no seams, no edges that's fraying. I think this is the better method to do it. So I'm going to transfer the circular design to the Heat and Bond and cut the Heat and Bond piece out, and we'll go from there. Okay, so I've brought you over to the other side of the table where my ironing pressing mat is and my iron is. So here we have the felt clock. We've got it right sides down. We've got the Heat and Bond Ultra with the paper side facing up. We're going to place this over the clock and we're going to press it gently, carefully, holding this in place. Read your instructions for your Heat and Bond. It will tell you how long, what heat, no steam, and just hold it over for however long it suggests. See if it's adhered. There we have it. That's adhered nicely. Okay. Silly me. One thing we should have done before we adhered that, I'm jumping ahead of myself a bit, was to take out these extra stitches which we no longer need. As I said, remove all the guideline stitches before you put the Heat and Bond on, otherwise it sticks to it and makes it a bit more difficult. So what we do now is we turn this over and we take the paper off the back of the Heat and Bond Ultra, which leaves us with a shiny edge. So what we would do now is we're going to bring over our backing piece of felt, make sure it's covered. Now don't iron straight onto the felt, I'm going to use a pressing cloth to press this down, so it might take a little bit more pressure and a bit longer for it to adhere. So we're going to press direct onto the top of the pressing cloth, onto the felt. Let's have a look to see if that's stuck. Oh, still a bit more there. It might take a little bit just to keep it in place. So read the instructions for your Heat and Bond or your similar product to see how long it takes for it to hold into place. Then pressure on top. Stuck here, not sticking so well there. Let's keep it on a bit more. Okay, now we have it adhered to the felt. We're going to trim all the way around evenly and nicely, so we get a nice circle all the way around. Okay, so now with the clock face finish, we need to assemble it. For that we need to have some split pins. These are 25mm long. The head's about 8mm, I believe. So this is what the split pin looks like. And we have the clock face hands. So we have the minutes and the hours. We've made the hole in the hands. We need to push the split pin through the hole, then through the hole of the other hand. So we have the two hands. With the clock face, here we have the hole that we marked with a little stitched circle. Here we take an awl or a brad, a pointy tool as I call it, and make a hole through there. Okay, so we have our hole. We take our split pin, we push through the hole, so we have this, turn it over, open it up, and there we have it, ready to tell the time. 6:10, 6 o'clock, 3:15, 3:45, 3:30. There we have our telling the time aid finished.